I discovered somebody through the week. I've talked about the great man before. I'm going to talk about him again. Mr. Dmitry Shostakovich. Oh, the heaviest of the heaviest men in suits. Oh, there we are. I haven't even got my notes here. I've talked about him so much on this show. I'm going to talk about it again because I'm going to bring somebody up very quickly. One of the things that I did is I've loved Shostakovich for a long time. Over there is my orchestration books when I used to do my orchestration studies, which meant arranging for orchestra. That's the title. And what it is I couldn't. One of the things about Dmitry Shostakovich is not just the fact that he was such an incredible composer, but he was also the heavy metal dude of all the dudes, right? My thing was always, if there was such a thing as a death metal drummer in 1935, he would have used him, right? Because he was like... Nostrovia. Anyway, there you go. And so what goes on is I'd like to talk about him a little bit more, mainly because he's metal. He's a full-on dude. And the things that he did during the Stalin era and all that sort of stuff, you know, that kind of thing. And then during World War II and his very famous 7th Symphony, you know, when Leningrad was under siege. Okay, some of you might want to roll with that, but I'm not, because he loved his country and he did all the right things. However, what he would do was he actually was just incredible at what he did, but he was able to overlay so much stuff and like have one melody here and going in under and all that sort of stuff. And at one point, his son, when Dmitri was giving his son a piano lesson, he said, "Papa, did you know that these are the initials of your name?" I went, "So they are, son." And so these 4 Shostakovich notes, which I've talked about a fair bit, are now engraved on his tombstone. Okay, they are D, E flat, C, B. Like a juggernaut. Oh. And what he would do is he'd juxtapose, which means put together, all these different things with these notes and all that. And the reason I'm bringing him up is through the week, I discovered somebody. His name is Connor Graham. I just got him on YouTube. He's been around for a while. I was blind, but now I can see. This dude is doing metal versions. He's an incredible guitar player. I'm giving him a plug. I don't even know who he is. I've just seen him on YouTube, discovered him. I'm going, what the hell? And he's just gone to town with Shostakovich. And Stravinsky, who's my other favorite dude, and all that. But one of the things that happens with people like that is that when you're actually doing these kinds of explorations, let's say, sorry I've got my back to you, but I'm going to go to the dulcimer here. I've got to put that up here so I don't hit the thing. And... what goes goes on is he overlaps different little motifs. What goes on is he overlaps different things. And I went to town studying him, pardon me, and usually when you've got an orchestra, you've got your first violins, your second violins, your violas, your cello, double bass, all of that sort of business, and you'd write for them and all that. But what Shostakovich did was he split it all up. So instead of just there, a block, a block, a block, a block, he would be like a basket weave, okay? So he'd actually split the first violins into things like 4 and 5 parts, and then the second violin into 4 and 5 parts. It becomes like that's why it's so thick and heavy. Oh boy! And some of the polyrhythmic stuff that he did, and all that sort of stuff was crazy. And what it is Connor Gallagher did this thing. I've got 2 things very quickly. He talks about, he didn't talk about it. He played it. Symphony, the string quartet number 8, but symphony number 11. Now that's an important one because that was called the 1905 thing. Most people know about the Russian Revolution being 1917, but there was another one, 1905. And what it was he portrayed that in the most incredible of ways, and some of the polyrhythms and stuff like that. And that's what I want to sort of quickly talk about. I've done shows before about See the Big Fat Piggy, which is like, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 Iana, 2 Iana, 3 Iana, 4 Iana. Oh. And all that sort of business. I might have that a bit loud. Anyway, there you go, I'll bring it back a bit. But what goes on is that he'd juxtapose. I love that word, juxtapose. How Russian's that? Ooh! Hey. There you go. So what happens is that he would actually put in different things and overlap them and all that. So you'd have one theme and then there'd be a subtext in one of the things. Now, he was a really brave man. That's the thing. He stood up. And one of the things is he was this, so if you, hey comrade, if you play a wrong note, we might come and get you in the middle of the night. He had a little suitcase next to his desk, so he would spend the night just writing his music. And if the Stalin's henchmen came for him, he would just leave in the middle of the night. But he stood up. He stood up for his country. He was a fireman during the siege of Leningrad. He stood up for his city, and he did all the right things. He made the cover of Time magazine, and they took his 7th Symphony out via microfilm, spy stuff, the whole documentary on it. And they played it all around the world, as a beacon, to stand up, And he stood up for his town. And that's what that was. And then hang on a minute, that's that stuff that he's doing. Oh, powerful stuff. And that's, I talk about counterpoint a little bit and all that sort of stuff, and that's what he was incredible with. He's got a thing for piano, 24 preludes and fugues, and they rival Bach, that kind of thing. And I won't do that Bach joke tonight, I've already done it. You're going to get jokes in a minute. What's going on is that Dmitri Shostakovich, I did a thing, it was the anniversary, or centenary of his birth in 2006, 14 years ago. He was born in 1906. He died in 1977 with full state honours for being a true citizen, stand-up guy. He was a funny guy too. I love these geniuses that I've talked about, and they're funny guys. He always had a smoke in his gob and all that sort of stuff, and he not only did all these serious works and all that, you get to know the man through his symphonies. They're huge. But then you really get to know the private person through his string quartets, just by both, the box sets of both. I've got them in the other room, you just go. But he also did all these film scores and all that. I crap on about film scores all the time. But what it is he could just sit down and just go, oh yeah, I'll knock this off by lunchtime. And it was brilliant, you know. And he was just like the primo composer of the day. And he was always rivaling, you know, there was Shostakovich and Stravinsky. They were always doing that. It's quite a great story to listen to or read about and all this sort of stuff. Books, all sorts. Incredible. I gush. But in 2006, it was the centenary, and all the orchestras of the world coordinated to play his music. And the Melbourne Symphony Orchestra had this version of the 11th Symphony. And to this day, it's a bit rough and ready compared to some of the German. I've got about 4 copies of the thing. It's a bit rough and ready compared to the, you know, the other orchestras in Europe and all that sort of stuff. A little bit rough around the gills, but man, they went at it. Boom! And one of the things about the dear Melbourne Symphony Orchestra, which I was subscribed to there for a while, long time. Anyway, what happened, or what they have, is this gigantic, beautiful concert bass drum. And when you go to the concert hall and the dude goes, Fumpa, what a sound. Bang, 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 bang. What's that? Rammstein. Red as a Rammstein roadie. Anyway, so what happens is, what happens with Dmitri is that when you're sitting down and listening to it, he really is the heavy metal dude I implore you to go off and listen to his work. And the reason I'm going on about it is because I'm giving a complete stranger a full-blown plug. Connor Gallagher. Look him up on YouTube. He's right there, and he does the heavy metal versions of Shostakovich's 8th and the 11th. He does Stravinsky's Firebird Suite and all that sort of stuff. And he grooves, just like Dmitri does. And there it is. I implore you to go and do it.